So I typically wouldn't share a dream like this on here, mostly because it's not my dream. I didn't have this dream, but my grandfather had this dream. My grandma, who is now passed away, and her husband, my grandpa, are well known in our family to be prolific dreamers and oftentimes would have prophetic dreams. And my grandfather, who was in his early 80s, had a prophetic dream about America. My sister recently went to go visit him this past Sunday, and he was taking a nap. He was by himself, and it was just him and her. He woke up from his nap, and he looked over and he started sharing his dream immediately with my sister. He told her that he had a dream that he saw a lot of people fighting, and a lot of innocent people were being killed here in America due to this fighting. My grandfather saw a war here on American soil, and he was really saddened by this dream. And then he began to tell her that he knew that he wasn't going to be here long, not much longer. Either I'm going to die of natural causes or I'm going to be killed. Mind you, my grandpa doesn't watch the news, so he doesn't know anything about the riots that are happening in LA. He doesn't know about the riots that are happening in other parts of this country. He doesn't know any of that. But my sister told me that when he told her that dream, she knew instantly that this was a prophetic dream. My sister felt that the Holy Spirit was on him when he was telling her this dream. So today is June 11th. I don't know what to make of this, but I pray that, we don't see civil unrest here in America. I pray that we don't see war on our own lands. And unfortunately, we've been that spoiled, and I do mean spoiled, that we think that these types of things can happen in other countries, third world countries, war-torn countries. I pray with all of my heart that the United States never experiences this. But if people continue the way that they're going, we very well might in this lifetime experience that here.
All right, shalom. Keep us a sheep, Brother Kasha. We're back with another lesson. Lord's will, this video is edifying. All right, before we begin, I'll let the first start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Most High. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with 144,000. All right, and as you can see, today's lesson will be response. They shall prophesy and dream dreams. Visions of civil war in Babylon is arising. All right, now this is a response video to GMS Vegas 144 Reloaded. All right, and basically he did a response to a woman on TikTok had a dream that her grandfather he had a dream. All right, she didn't have the dream, but her grandfather had a dream, and she just did basically a response also to her grandfather's dream. And in his dream, she said, "Well, you heard what she said in her video, how he wasn't in tune with what was happening in the world at that moment. All right, and that was in June, okay, and he was telling his other daughter, all right, which told the lady in the video his dream, and she believed that, okay, she claimed that he was in the spirit, but this is just prophecy. All right, this is just more prophecy that we're in the end, because as it says real quick in the book of Acts 2:17 says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days with our power I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Right? So this is a great example of Acts 2:17. So in her video, all right, she said that her grandfather saw basically, war, all right, war in America. And not just any war, like civil unrest, okay, war amongst the people, okay, and he knew, he knew that this dream was ultimately something that was going to come to pass because this was the spirit of the Most High, all right, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. He know this wasn't no ordinary dream, okay, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, that you're able to, when you receive these dreams, you know that these dreams are something that's not, this is not your everyday dream, because most people have dreams of carnal things, okay? All right, you may dream, whatever, right? But when you have dreams that reflect the future of America, aka Babylon the Great, you know, all right, that this is something that will come to pass, all right? Because what the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shah, he's not a liar. Okay, he's not a man that he should lie. All right, he didn't send his prophets out to prophesy the end, all right, the downfall of America, aka Babylon the Great, just for it not to come to pass, just for it to sit on the highways and byways. No, his word is going out. All right, and it's accomplishing everything the Lord said. All right, he said his word will not go out void. All right, we'll grab that real quick. Because we're seeing these words manifest in a major way, right? So this is Isaiah 55, verse 11, and it reads, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." That's right, man. All right, so the Most High basically is giving his men, all right, and those who receive these dreams, all right, a glimpse of what's to come. And I just want to mention that I also had a dream. I also had a similar dream maybe 2 nights ago, right? And in my dream, it was basically similar to the dreams that's that this elderly man saw. But in my dream, it was I was at the plantation or whatever, and on my job, it's mainly Jakes. All right, it's majority Jakes, and that's what a lot of plantations. All right, it's majority Jakes anyway. But when I say it's majority Jakes, like it's really majority Jakes. All right, I can count on my hand. All right, how many Edomites there are, and there are a few. All right, and at my job, all right, at the plantation, the division, all right, is definitely there. All right, the Esau doesn't mind. All right, showing his the serpent doesn't mind showing his fangs, man, his teeth. He doesn't mind letting you know and making you feel a way. All right, so in this dream, I wouldn't be surprised if because in my dream, the ICE, all right, they were supposedly coming in and jacking up people or whatever. So a few of us, all right, this one man, he knew a way out, all right, because I guess they had every entrance and exit blocked off, but he knew a way out through some tunnel, all right. And in this tunnel, we sat in the tunnel for a while, and eventually we made our way out to the surface. And once we made our way out to the surface, it was ice, All right, but they wasn't worried about us. All right, they was worried about. I guess there were like other militias. All right, I want to say the cartels. Okay, because there were other so-called, there were brown people. All right, maybe some Hispanics. All right, and they had their military gear on. All right, they had their trucks, their SUVs. All right, the face masks. All right, and they were going at it with each other. Okay, and it just reminds me of the dream that this man had. And I wasn't gonna share my dream. All right, I wasn't even gonna. The only reason I'm doing this lesson is because I saw this video and I say, dang, I had a similar dream. All right, so and yeah, and of course, when we have these dreams, we be happy that they're just dreams. All right, once we wake up, well, a time is gonna come when that dream is gonna be manifest. All right, that dream is gonna be reality. All right. But in my dream, it was many different troops. All right, like I said, you might have had your cartel, your ICE, but I think even in the midst of that, you had like some other foreign militaries. All right, and basically you just had a bunch of groups. All right, and these groups were, of course, they was going after each other, but they were out taking up innocent people. All right, killing innocent people. And it's like at this time, you either had to form your own group, right, or you had to join their group. And yeah, it was just something that you could say wasn't a pretty sight for America, and it was basically showing you how that things will never be the same. All right, because a time is going to come where. Matter of fact, we'll just grab the precepts, right? Men are going to evade one another, and the order, all right, that America has set up, all right. Well, the president, the army, all right, things of that nature. People are not going to give regard, all right. Real quick. This is Second Esdras, and I really could start. I really started at 14, right? And it reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draws nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand." All right, and we know the modern day sword is the gun. All right, the machine gun. Right, and and I'm pretty sure in this man's dreams there were a lot of those. Because in my dream there were a lot of those. All right, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another." All right. They shall not regard their kings. So you're gonna have other men, like in my dream, trying to capture other men. Ultimately, you're gonna have all these groups trying to conquer one another, so that one can rule over the other. All right, and this is the time we're coming in. All right. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings," because these men are going to want to see themselves as kings. All right, it says, "Not regard their kings nor princes, and the power and the course of their power shall stand. It's like in the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right, meaning you're going to have these groups. All right, they want the power. All right, they want to be in charge. They want to rule over the people. Okay, and we see this now on a small level. You have I think it was even in Minnesota. You had some Edomites. All right, they were patrolling their neighborhood with guns. All right, and of course you have the so-called Black Panther movement. All right, you're gonna have all these different groups. All right, coming up against one another. All right, And again, each group, their goal is to conquer the other. All right, to be the superior to the other group. Okay. Says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, and of course, this is because they're going to have checkpoints. All right, and not only that, these different groups, all right, that they're going to have their own territory. All right, they're going to have their own side of the city, or their own city, or their own ranking, their own patrolling. Okay, it's going to get to a point where that division, all right, is going to be throughout the whole United States. And that's what the scripture says: "The house divided shall not stand." All right, so you're gonna have so many different sects, militias. Okay. This is before because of their pride, these cities shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. That's how it's gonna be, man. All right, you're gonna have. That's how we see it in the movie. What is that movie? With Denzel Washington. Dang, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, in that movie, you had a small. All right, so like, and that movie was the Book of Eli. Okay, and that movie you had the account. All right, where he was walking, and there was a woman who was supposedly in distress. All right, she was crying out for help, and there were men. All right, there were also other men put to the side. They were hiding. All right, this woman was used as bait. All right, to set up other men. All right, so you're gonna have these accounts where, in time to come, you're gonna have different sects, different militias. All right, that are gonna control these different cities. All right, these different territories, and they may use women to set up other men. All right, and I believe in the movie their plan was to, of course, kill the character Denzel Washington played and eat him. All right, because it's gonna be a famine, man. People are gonna be hungry. Okay, and you also had the other account where there was the man who wanted the book. All right, that he had the Bible. All right, he had his own little militia. All right, and they had a town. They had a little city. All right, that they controlled. They had the bar, the hotel. All right, they even had like a pawn shop, I believe, where you could buy and trade and sell. Because you got to understand, a time is going to come where the U.S. dollar is not going to be of any value. All right, and you're gonna have to trade and barter and sell things of value to other people. Okay, but they also had their own militia. They had their weapons, or their swords. Okay, so we're coming into that time, man. We're coming into that time where these different, all right, you're gonna have different groups rise up. All right, and these groups are gonna want to conquer the next group. All right. Again, giving no regard to their kings. All right, taking things into their own hand. Okay, and yeah, man. So we're at a point where it's either you choose to be a part of these groups, okay, or you're going to be slaughtered. But as men of the Lord, all right, the hopeful elect, we know that, all right, the Lord is going to keep us, okay? We're not dependent on the modern day sword, or what Scripture said, of the paraphrase, he that lived by the sword died by the sword, right? So our sword is, all right, these scriptures. All right, this is our armor. All right, this is our shield. This is our protector. All right, this is what's going to keep us in these times, man. Okay. And for a long time, that's why America allowed you to buy all these weapons. Every household has weapons. Somebody from 22s to 9s to AK-47s, ARPs, okay, homemade weapons, okay. Every person has a modern day sword, okay? And the time to use these swords are ahead, man. People are going to have to defend themselves and their families, all right? And people are going to be hungry, all right? People are going to need to feed their families, right? So the time is coming where, hey, it's going to be a slaughter out here. All right, people are going to be slaughtered on a billet, and I seen a post. Was it last week maybe, where those coffins are coming in. Those plastic coffins are being made again. Okay, so America's preparing for something big to happen, man. All right, it's preparing for a great slaughter. All right. And with that, man, Lord, will I pray that this lesson will edify him. Again, until next time, I'd like to close out by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with 144,000.